the first time I was homeless, it was only with one child. This time I'm homeless with 3 children. I said, God, if you get me out of this, I said, without them having to put a stitch in my heart, I'm gonna write the book.
He would bring up the issue of me having an abortion and continue to stress how he was not going to help me raise the baby.
Whatever we can pack in this car, that's all we're taking. And we left everything else at it won't be long now before we get out of this situation.
Yeah.
It won't be long now before the money.
I'm really happy to introduce you to my guest, Taquila Coleman. She's a best-selling author of 2 books. One is entitled Pregnant and Alone, and the other is From Depression to Deliverance. She's also consults women who find themselves alone, raising children alone. She has well-known YouTube channel with such titles as How to Get Over Baby Daddy, How to Deal with a Father That Calls Only Every Blue Moon, or How to Deal with Your Baby Daddy. And before I actually bring her on, I want to give you a little excerpt from one of the books. This one's From Depression to Deliverance. It says, who would have ever thought telling him I'm pregnant would turn my life upside down and send me straight into a depression? I remember the day like it was yesterday, on the phone while he was at work, telling him I'm pregnant and hearing nothing but silence on the other end. And with that, let me introduce Taquila Coleman. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Very pleased. Very pleased. So yeah, I just introduced you as a best-selling author. How did that come about for you to write not only 1 but 2 books?
When I got pregnant and the father left, I went into what I call a deep depression. And, I put myself in therapy, and it was actually in therapy where God delivered me from depression. And part of that deliverance, God was calling me to share my message. And I was like, no, I don't want to tell the story, And, I started writing some of the book, but I was still being hard-headed, right? And I think it was in 2017, out of the blue, I just started having heart attacks, right? I didn't even know I was having heart attacks. And when I was in the hospital, when they, after they started running the test and they shared with me I had the heart attack and everyone left out the room, I prayed. I said, God, because I was scared. I said, God, if you get me out of this, I said, without them having to put a stitch in my heart, I'm going to write the book and I will share this story. And so that I walked out of there, with no stitch in my heart. And so that's when I went home and I started writing my first book, From Depression to Deliverance, just sharing my story. And that book actually, that was like me planting seeds, right? It wasn't until Pregnant and Alone book, once I wrote that book, that's when, it hit bestseller and, everything just started unfolding from there. So, that's how that book came about. It's amazing how God would take a situation that looked broken, or you might feel defeated, and he will use it for our good.
You speak in a language that the women who are experiencing this most in their life can understand. You don't talk down to them. You use the word baby daddy, which is, outside of maybe what typical people would say for that single parents, but you speak in a natural language. And I find that inspiring.
Thank you. And see, the reason for that is because when I was pregnant, I searched Google, because when the father was asking me to have an abortion, I'd never been in that situation before. So I went into Google, I went on YouTube, and I was searching, what do you do when the boyfriend wants you to get an abortion, but you don't, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't find no information. And
Right.
so I kept that in the back of my mind, when I started, writing my book and sharing on YouTube. I was like, my whole goal was, I need to bring awareness to this, because it's, I don't like it. It's not right, and that's why I speak in that language, because I know people will resonate more with me. And, because that's one of the things I hear. A lot of women reach out to me and they say, you talk about real stuff that goes on in the community. Yeah.
There's a saying, if you find a need, fill it. And that's what you did. And a lot of women in that situation, but just don't have a voice,
right,
or someone to actually hear them. I became a single parent back in the 70s. I did the best I could as a single parent, feeling very often alone, and felt that I lacked a support system. And I had to, depend on my internal fortitude, and counseling wasn't as big back in those days. So I find it interesting that you went to counseling. And I like the fact that you sort of shed a myth that prayer alone can end a problem such as depression. You sort of show that it takes work. You said I went to counseling, and a lot of people, especially in the African American community, sort of shun counseling, and but you went through the whole process. So I find that very inspiring. Yeah. Let me read an excerpt from your book again. It said, over the next several days, stress came over me like a storm. Each time I would talk to him on the phone, he would bring up the issue of me having an abortion and continue to stress how he was not going to help me raise the baby. I repeatedly told him that I don't believe in having an abortion. And on one occasion, he said, okay, well, what about giving the baby up for adoption? What the hell? I like, you break it on down. I can hear anyone saying that, in natural language, so.
And that's how I felt when he asked that question. Sure. I'm being honest, when that happened, because it happened not once, but twice. The first time it happened, I was in shock, right? Yes. And I was just like, this cannot be real. Like, I did not know man can do that. Like, I never even heard of it at that moment. But when he asked for me to put the baby up for adoption, I was like, no, that is wrong. Like, no,
right.
It's not an option, And so it was in that moment where I made a decision. If I got to have this baby on my own without you, then that's exactly what I'm going to do, because, he was making his intentions clear, that he wasn't on board with it. So I was just like, okay, all right, your choice.
Yeah, and countless women have had to go through that. And so, again, that's a support system. Now, like I said, this is World Homeless Day, Michigan. I watched one of your videos, and you were talking about having to stay in a long-term hotel. That's where I
Mm.
am right now, Taquila. I've been in a long-term hotel.
I could tell the
You,
background.
you know the setup, right?
Right.
You know the setup. So you can relate to things that a lot of people wouldn't be able to because, and I'm not going to get too much into that. Maybe I can have you back and we can discuss some other things at some point. But the whole idea of, having to make enough income to cover that night,
Mhm.
because it's not like a 30-day, rental by the month. It's a whole different dynamic when you
It
are
is.
living in a hotel. So, I mean,
Mhm.
that's another reason why you're it's such an inspiration. Of course, I know hard times can bring out the best in us.
Right. Yeah.
Still, it's so amazing that you were able. You had your children as well
Mhm.
as a single parent. I lost my housing as an adult, and my
Mhm.
son was an adult. Uh, we had rocky moments, but uh, I just can't imagine, uh, what you did, and I know it's not cheap staying in a hotel.
Right.
And so, can you talk
Yeah.
about how you got through that?
Yeah. Well, here's the good part about it. Before I was evicted out of my home, God actually placed it on my heart 6 months before it happened to start like looking around for places, right? And I kept wondering like, why? Because I'm looking at like where I'm in a home, but I kept sensing, start looking for a place. And I had already looked into, the hotel I went to, and I had that in the back of my mind. So when the eviction happened, it didn't catch me by surprise. My children and I told my children, I said, whatever we can pack in this car, that's all we're taking. And we left everything else at my apartment at that time. And, we moved into the hotel, and it was hard, it's because I was homeless before.
Hmm.
But the first time I was homeless, it was only with one child. This
Hmm.
time I'm homeless with three children.
Wow.
And the third child, my daughter, she was really like she was the one who kept me not giving up, because there was a time where we had to sleep in our car.
Hmm.
And my daughter, she was like, Mommy, we don't sleep in cars, we sleep in a bed.
You're so
And
right.
so it
Mhm.
was stuff like that, and I was like, I gotta find us, I gotta get us out of this situation.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, I just used what was in front of me, which was because I couldn't work a 9 to 5. So I tapped into, driving for DoorDash. I was using Ship, that's the grocery shopping app. And I think I was doing driving for Lyft as well. And my whole focus was I knew how much I needed for that night to cover, the hotel for that night. That was my whole goal. I need to make $100 today so I could pay,
Yeah,
for to have another stay here.
yeah.
And that's what we did. It's exhausting, but what really kept me going, even though I was doing the DoorDash, we was living in the hotels, and I'm on YouTube sharing my message, inspiring. When I would hear other women, when they would inbox me and tell me their situation, it helped to take my mind off of what I was going through,
Hmm.
you know, and it just helped me to, like, it was like an escape,
Sure.
the more I help other people, the more I think it was like a balance for me, because it just helped me to keep moving, you
Right.
know. And it was certain things I would put in place like every day, because every day, it's like a battle in your mind.
Hmm.
And so God placed it on my heart. He was like, okay, you need a routine. You got to get up every morning. So what I was doing, I would get up every morning. I would immediately go into worship, and then I would go into praise. All of this helped me to keep my mind focused on the positive, because it
Right,
kept going back
right.
to
Of
the
course.
negative.
Yeah.
And then I started, saying decrees and declarations, but it was in that. This is the key. It was in me saying the decrees and declarations every single day. I really believe that's what helped shift me out of that situation, you
Mhm.
know? And because I was saying things like, I am shifting from homeless to house. I am
Ah,
coming out of this struggle. It is
yeah.
getting easier for me, you know? And that was really because after I said, I go right out with this motivation, like, okay, let's take on the day. Come on, come on. I just think that's what really kept me going, you know, when I was in that season.
And
Yeah.
and and Taquila, you also have put together uh, like a list of those sayings that got you through
Hmm.
those tough times. Where can people find that?
So if
Nice.
you go to my YouTube channel, and click on the community tab, you can see some of them, on the banner. But to get the full list, that's something I share with coaching clients to help shift their mindset.
Yeah, I said you're a consultant. It's actually coaching. You actually do life coaching
Right.
for young
Yes.
women who are,
Hmm.
um, raising children alone as
Right.
single mothers.
Yep.
Okay,
Hmm.
so if someone wanted to get your coaching, where would they find you? It would just be the YouTube channel. Or?
Well, no, you can go to my website. It's taquilacoleman.com. Um, and you can click on the work with, I think it's called Work With Me tab, and schedule a free 30-minute session. And we go through that process from there.
You said the first one's free.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That is good. Uh, so yeah, I would encourage. I'm going to share this, of course, and just encourage people who are find themselves, or if you know someone in that situation, that there is hope. And you are such an inspiration to so many uh, young women. And I just read a statistic yesterday. I think it said 40. This is in California. So they need to get on the ball too at World Homeless Day. But I think
Hmm.
40% of the homeless population consists of young single mothers,
Yeah.
single mothers.
Wow.
So it is a crisis. I think it's at a
It
crisis
is.
levels. And um, I think they need encouragement. And I like what you said. A lot of it has to do with, positive self affirmation,
Hmm.
and looking at yourself from a different perspective than what
Right.
people will project on you when you're in those circumstances.
Hmm.
Um, I should say, since you were homeless, I should ask you, did you reach out to any homeless agencies? And if so, what to what extent were they able to assist you?
I think I've reached out to two of them, but the response I was getting, because my family was so big, I'm a family of four, they didn't really have any room. So, after the second no, I was like, okay, I got to figure this out,
Mm-hmm.
and I just did what I did. And I will say this, because it was another single mother I met at a different hotel. Once, in the beginning, we was bouncing from hotel to hotel, trying to really find, the right place.
Mm-hmm.
But it was this one particular hotel. I really believe God gave me favor with her, and I didn't know she was actually homeless, but she was working there, right?
Yeah.
Single mother, same situation.
Mm-hmm.
She gave me this, how she gave me favor, because she gave me a rate. It was like a $60 rate, and it was a weekend, but I had checked out. When you check out and you try to check back in, the rate goes up.
Mm-hmm.
But I only had $120, and I needed to stay till that Sunday, I think it was. And I told her, I was like, I know I just checked out, but I need to stay till Sunday. She was like, no problem. I'm gonna give you the same rate. And I was just jumping for joy in my spirit.
I know.
'Cause I was like, okay, and it was really more like a faith walk, because I'm telling you, the whole entire time, I kept finding myself in situations where I didn't even know how I was going to pay, the room rate for that particular day. Here's another story I have for you. Um, a week after we ended up in the hotel, I ran out of money. Now we had to check out on a Wednesday. Tuesday night, when my children went to sleep, I went in the bathroom and I just did what I knew best. I started praying. I said, God, I don't have any money to pay for tomorrow, and I don't know what to do. I was like, I need you to help me, and I got so personal. I was like, God, I'm your daughter. I know you don't want your grandchildren out here on the street. Okay.
Okay.
So I need you to figure this out.
There you go. Okay.
And let me tell you, so the next day we checked out and I went to the McDonald's down the street and we were just sitting there. I was calling all the family members. I was upset, and everyone was giving me reasons why we couldn't come. I said, okay. So I reached out to another single mother I knew on Facebook. Never met her in person. I just knew her on Facebook. And she said, oh, I've been in that situation so many times. I know how to help you. So
Wow.
she started giving me tips, so she helped me get through that night.
Yes.
Then she helped me get to Friday night. Friday came and I get a call from my grandmother. So because I'm upset with the family because they didn't help me. I don't answer anyone phone call. So I hear my grandmother on my voicemail. Right. She's telling me, your mother have a check at the house waiting for you.
Whoa.
So I'm thinking she's lying, right? Yeah. So I'm still like, no, whatever, right? So, but then something tells me you need to call your mother and really make sure, see about this check. So I goes over to my mom's house. Let me tell you, my mother had a check. The IRS sent a check to my old address because she lived in an apartment complex. So they sent a check to my old address. The check was for $3,650.
Oh my God, Taquila! Wow.
I said, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I tell you God showed up, that was a faith walk. Yeah. It just overwhelmed me with love. I said, oh my God, God gave me more than enough. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. We got to get together sometime and compare miracles. Not too many people know what you're talking about when you say you've got to make that room and having just enough or not having enough, or a manager at a hotel showing you favor.
Yep.
I've had that happen a couple times.
Yeah.
And to know that it was favor, I went back to the same place, completely different management. So it's just, you have to be grateful and know.
Right. Yeah.
That it does come from God. It's no other way to look at it. And so now you've been housed and you have a successful coaching business and a book author. What's on the horizon? What are plans for Taquila? You trying to keep your YouTube?
Well, I'm in a space where I just want to make things better. I'm at 2,000 on YouTube, so I want to get to 5,000. I just want to make what I already have better and bigger. Like right now, I'm homeschooling my children. They love our new home. I was sharing with my oldest son. He's 15. I kept saying to him, just like this, we're going to be in our house. I kept telling him that. And I sat him down the other night. I said, remember when we were in the hotel? I kept telling you, just like that, we're gonna be in our house. And he was like, yeah. And so we just, now we just enjoying our place and just enjoying the ease. Because that's what I prayed for. I wanted everything to be easy. With single motherhood, it's attached to struggle. I don't want that. I want easy, And so I'm just learning how to just enjoy it, and live in it.
Exactly. Well, Taquila, this has been such a treat for me. Like I said, I followed you on YouTube. um, a while back, and that one of your videos really just got me because you were talking about, living uh, in a long-term hotel. And I'm like, I know all about that. And that
Right.
was, you know, really inspiring and kind of gave me a boost
Mhm.
and felt that I was heard.
Right. Yeah.
So, do you have anything that you'd like to share with the audience and even for World Homeless Day, because it's only a decade old. So
Mhm.
I don't know if you've even heard of it.
You know, I haven't. You was the
Okay.
first person to introduce me to World Homeless Day.
Hmm.
But some of the things that, I will say, if you find yourself in that situation, number one, you want to really identify and ask yourself, like, how did I end up here? You
Yeah.
know, because that was one of the things I had to, even though I got evicted, I had to really sit down and give me some honesty, you
Yeah.
know. So how did you end up here? What what is it you might need to change, and do better, right? And number three, take control of your mind, feed it good thoughts, because in that situation you're engulfed with stress and defeat. So I would just say, try to consume your mind with the good, put in as much good as you can, and know that it's possible. Albert Einstein, he got a quote that says, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So it's going to
Wow.
take a new mindset to shift
Yeah.
that whole entire situation.
Love
So,
it.
you
Yeah.
know, look into decrees. I like to decree. I like to take the scripture and turn it into a declaration and
Yeah.
say it out of my mouth, because the way how it works, whatever's planted in the heaven is going to
Hmm.
come down. So we got
Right.
to plant that new beginning in the
Yeah.
heavenly realm so
Yeah.
it can begin to manifest down here on earth. So
Right.
use your words to shift, your season.
Right.
In the book of Amos, I can't think of the verse, the chapter, but it says it won't be long now. That was one of the decrees that I was saying. It won't be long now
Wow.
before we get out of this situation.
Yes.
It
Yes.
won't be long now before the money comes, right? It won't be long now before we're in our new home.
Right.
So begin to decree it, say it out of your mouth, and
Right.
just use your words to shift your life into that next season.
I was going to ask you for a quote, but you already gave me a couple more than I was going to ask for. So, wow. I think on that note, I'm going to have to end this.
Okay.
Hopefully,
Thank you
you
for that.
will agree to maybe come back again, where we can talk about some things that we share and can share with people who are still going through this. Um, because there's a lot of aspects that we can't touch on today, such as family support, community support, um, you know, those sorts of things. So again,
Mhm.
thank you so much for stopping by, and
Thank you for having me.
wish you a great rest of the year as we wind down 2020. It's World Homeless Day 2020, and get ready for the new decade in this new century. Thanks again.
Thank you.